The migrant crisis is happening at the border. I don't know if you see this footage. So this happened, Will, at the border, this at the El Paso border. It just happened
yesterday, right?
Yesterday, where thousands or 1,000 plus people essentially stormed the border to cross. And you could see a very organized effort to do this. Again, more chaos that's happening at the border as we've tried to bring this to people's attention, and a lot of people have. Again, this doesn't have to do with the people. I've always wanted to make that very clear here. That has to do with the lack of leadership and the lack of protection that we have here, and a lack of organization to figure out how we're going to handle this. Because if you have 1,000 people, 1,000 plus people ready to storm a border, storm a wall, storm whatever, likely they're going to win. It's going to happen because that's a lot of protection in different areas of the world, areas of the country. It's just not going to happen. So we have to figure out a game plan here, people. We can't just say it's terrible. We have to figure out what we're going to do about it. But the Biden administration just doesn't seem to want to do that.
Right. And unfortunately, we talked about a crisis in the financial system in the first segment and second segment of the broadcast. Now we're talking about a crisis at the border. And what we a little bit were alluding to in the first segments, that the Biden administration saw people rushing to a bank to withdraw their deposits. And he stepped in and did something to stop that.
2 days stepped in and said,
he didn't want it to become a broader crisis. He didn't want it to spread to other parts of the country. He wanted to make sure that people that were members of this bank were protected. We're not seeing that at the border. And we've seen people rushing the border now, literally, very much a run on the border for years now under the Biden administration.
Yeah, and this footage just shows you clearly what's happening, what it's like. I think it's hard for us to kind of imagine. You see some of those footage of people crossing a river or crossing the Rio Grande, or you see, the Border Patrol agents on the horses. You've seen those imagery. You haven't seen this, which looks like Afghanistan.
Right.
I mean, that's what it looks like. It looks like when people were trying to flee Afghanistan, it's sort of an organized effort to cross the border. We do have a clip we should probably play from Karine Jean-Pierre. Is this from yesterday? Or is this from over the weekend?
Over the weekend,
over the
last
weekend.
Week.
About sort of the crisis that's happening and what we're going to do, hopefully, to try to fix it.
What we are going to promise is that we're going to do this. We're going to move forward with this kind of system, this immigration system that has been gutted, really, truly gutted by the last administration. We're going to move forward and do it in a humane way. We're going to do it in a safe way, and we're going to do it in the way that moves us forward. And so what we have been seeing, what we've been dealing with, again, is trying to fix the damage that the last administration did. What we have done is we've opened the path to make sure that people have a way to get, to come through and do it in a legal pathway.
I hate this, by the way, and I hate this from Democrats, and I hate this from Republicans, and I hate that this becomes a thing. I'll give you 6 months to where you can keep saying it's the last administration. After that, it's on you.
Right.
Okay, you've had time to make adjustments. Until then, 6 months, sure. But we are already talking about running for re-election. Re-election, we'll have a debate in 6 months. So to keep blaming things on previous administrations, and again, I'm not just saying this to her. I'm saying this to Republicans. I hate when you did that to the Obama administration. Take responsibility, move forward. You would keep talking about forward movement. That's what you keep doing. We're going to move forward. We're going to do it in a more humane way. Then do it. Show us that you can do it. Prove to the American people that it can happen. Like you said, they did it at the banks because all of a sudden we don't have a stock market crisis today.
Right.
We don't have a run on the banks this morning. Why? Because you stepped in and you did something of which the federal government probably should have.
Right.
But for this situation, the one that shows thousands of people who are trying to cross the border for good and bad reason. Look, I'm not saying any of them should be are doing it in the right way, but many are doing it for refugee reasons, or many are doing it for the fact they're trying to just get a better life for them and their families. Then there are obviously the people who are doing it for nefarious reasons, and the drug cartels and sex trafficking that's happening. There's both happening. So she's right. We need to handle it in a humane way and move forward. Well, how you move forward, you just don't keep blaming the past administration, because that makes you look really weak. It makes you look, it actually proves the point to a lot of these governments who look at America and laugh and say, this is what happens when you replace the president after 4 years. Because all they can do is look back and go, oh, look at them. All they do is point back to the previous administration and nothing moves forward.
I want to know what is going to be the president's Silicon Valley Bank moment when it comes to the border. What is going to make the administration finally wake up and realize that it is their policies that have led to 2.3 million people crossing in the last fiscal year. And I don't see that going away. I see it being more aggressive at the border. But you also brought up other world leaders. And the president of Mexico Manuel Lopez Obrador. He said Thursday that he's threatening to launch an information campaign against the U.S. and Republicans, telling them not to vote for U.S. lawmakers unless they change their treatment of Mexico. He claimed that they have no responsibility over the fentanyl crisis because they don't make it, and it's being consumed in America, which completely leaves out the entire smuggling industry of the warring cartels in his country that he can't get a handle over. But he's trying to push back and say that American Republicans that want to hold his government accountable need to be essentially a foreign interference in elections campaign against them if they don't change their attitude.
Yeah, it's really sad. I think that this is a real humanitarian crisis for both sides of this. You have people at the border trying to cross, like you said, there are good people who are trying to do their best who are doing it. Then you have, obviously, the extreme amounts of fentanyl that are coming in, and that's absurd, the fact they won't take any responsibility ever. But it's not shocking. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised by any foreign government not being thrilled with the United States of America, especially not right now. They see what's going on. They see the weakness that's happening. They see that their border is overrun and that it's crazy and chaos. Trust me, they see it on their side too, that it's just as chaotic. It's a shame. It really does kind of tug at my heart when you see this footage, because you don't want to be the person who becomes heartless to people, to humanity. And I'm not. I don't look at that and go, oh, look at these terrible people trying to cross the border. I look at people who are either trying to escape, or then there obviously are people who are not need to be coming here. But we've created a system that doesn't work. We've come with an immigration system that is impossible. And until we figure that out, this is what's going to keep happening. We need to secure the border, absolutely, and we need to fix the immigration process. There needs to be some sort of pathway to moving people forward when it comes to becoming legal citizens of the United States of America.